Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Jasmine. I am a wife and a mom of two under two. I live in Orlando and I'm going to be sharing my insane labor and delivery story. So yeah, we're just going to get right into it. Also, as a disclaimer, I'm going to talk about things like poop, throwing up, bleeding, so if you don't like hearing about that kind of stuff, don't watch this video, okay? And also just, yeah, I'm gonna just get right into it. I am 10 weeks postpartum. I have wanted to make this video for the last 10 weeks. I've been on leave and I just never got to it. My baby is asleep right now. My almost 2-year-old is at daycare. So if I'm going to record this video ever, it's going to happen right now. I also have notes on my phone because I feel like through all the postpartum and exhaustion, I could have possibly forgotten things and I did not want to do that. So we're going to talk about how we got here, how we ended up pregnant, my pregnancy, the story of going through labor, and then just right after postpartum. So I'm going to break it up into 4 chapters. A week after my first son turned 1 year old, I got pregnant. I stopped breastfeeding my first son at 10.5 weeks. And 6 weeks later, I found out, no, was it 6? 6 weeks later, I got pregnant. And then 4 weeks later after that, I found out I was pregnant. My husband was making like chicken in the air fryer, and I swore to everyone in the house that the meat was rotten. I asked my mom because she was visiting us at the time, "Don't you smell the meat? It's rotten, it's disgusting." And I was thinking to myself, I have not smelled food this horrible since I was pregnant with my first. And for your information, breastfeeding worked 100% for me as birth control because nothing changed, okay? It worked as birth control for me. That's all I can say. But anyway, I after smelling that horrible chicken, I went upstairs and I was like, "Oh God, okay, either I'm pregnant or something's going on." I went upstairs. I took a pregnancy test. I dipped the stick in the pee, and before I could take it out the pee to turn it like this, it had 2 lines. And I was like, "Oh, no." So I took another one of the like I had like the little cheap Amazon ones, and I took like another one that was like bigger where it has like a cross. It said pregnant. And you know what I did? I threw it in the garbage. I went to go take a shower and I went to sleep because I was like, "No, this can't be. I can't be pregnant. I don't want to be pregnant yet, so I cannot be pregnant yet. No." Threw it away. And then the next morning, this is New Year's Eve, actually. Yeah, December 31st. The next morning, I got up, went to Walmart very early. My mom had the baby. My husband was still asleep. When I got a pregnancy test, I got the digital one. The one that says pregnant. Came home. I come home. I go and take a shower because I'm like sweating. And my mom comes upstairs and she's like, "Oh, I'm going to make some breakfast. Mind you, I'm in the shower." And I'm like, "Mom, what does this say on the," I put the pregnancy test on the counter in the bathroom because I just was like, "No." And I look, pregnant. So yeah, that wasn't, it was quite unexpected, but everything happens for a reason. So now we fast forward. I have my pregnancy. Everything's perfectly easy, smooth. I mean, on paper, I have like the most perfect pregnancy you could ever imagine. So I knew this time going around that I was a lot more calm this second time go around. With my first, I freaked out. I panicked. I was ready for him to come early. I was doing all of the things trying to get him to come out. When I got to the hospital the first time, out of 4, I was like, "I need an epidural. I can't do this." And it actually went perfect. The second time, this year, I wanted to wait as long as possible before I went to the hospital. So it is August 30th, which is a Friday. The night before, I'm kind of not feeling that great, but towards the end of your pregnancy, you never feel good. And my husband's like, oh, do you want to take Jay, like basically do the morning routine in the morning for our 2-year-old, like take him to school and all that. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, well, let me know how you feel in the morning. The next morning, I wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm like, oh, something feels different. I'm starting to have contractions. Maybe about 15-20 minutes go by. I'm laying in the bed. I'm like, okay, let me stretch. Maybe my body's just aching. Literally, it's now at 6:30. I'm tapping my husband. I'm having the baby today. Huh? I'm having contractions right now. You sure? Yes. We start timing them. And then now it's like, oh, okay, this is really, really uncomfortable. So he goes to take care of my son. I get in the shower so I can calm down a little bit because now I'm like a little nervous. I go with him to drop off our son. Most painful, awful ride ever. I'm getting contractions in the car. Mind you, it's not very far to the daycare. But I just was like, this is the last time I'm going to only have one son. The last time we're taking him to school alone. Oh my gosh, I need to go and be there. Oh, it was awful. We get back home and I text my cousin who's going to be watching our 2-year-old. Hey, I'm going into labor. You don't need to come she was going to come to our house and like pick him up from school and be with him all weekend while we were at the hospital. So we just wanted to give her a heads up because I think she was going to work remote that day. We let her know, blah, 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 blah. And then basically by like 11 a.m., I'm like, okay, in the next hour, let's go. Because the app at this point told us like at 9 a.m. we should go to the hospital. But I'm like, I'm not going until it's unbearable. We get in the car. It's about noon. I stopped to Wendy's because I want to eat. Last time, they didn't let me eat. I was hungry. I was losing steam. And I said, I'm not going to do that this time. We get there. It's about 1 o'clock. They check me. I'm at a 6. And I'm like, all right, let me get an epidural. Let's do this. We're not going to waste any time this time. About 45 minutes pass. And I'm like, mind you, it takes a while. Like, you got to get checked in, blah, blah, whatever. I think maybe it's about like, just say it's maybe like 3 or 4 o'clock. I'm losing track of time. In my mind, I feel like it's like 3 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, the epidural is not strong. It's not working. They're like, oh, are you sure? Let's give it another 15 minutes. Okay, well, wait. An hour passes. I'm like, this ain't working. This is not working. Have the anesthesiologist come back in there. And I'm like, they're like, well, we can do it again. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. They check me. I'm at an 8. And I'm like, let's get this epidural going. Let's go. 30 minutes go by and I'm like, guys, y'all didn't do the epidural right. And they're like, we did it per the anesthesiologist. Now, she was on the younger side, so I feel like she might have been a bit inexperienced because there was an older man and a younger girl doing it, or younger woman doing it, and I feel like maybe she just needs some more training. But anyway, 30 minutes go by, I'm at an 8, it's not working. And then eventually, I think at this point now, it has to be like almost like 7 o'clock or something. And at this point, I'm like, oh, okay. Nobody's listening. Y'all must not think that I know what an epidural feels like. I feel everything. And I'm explaining to the doctors and to the nurses, I feel it. It's not wearing off. This is uncomfortable. This is painful. And then the contractions start coming harder and harder and faster and faster. And I'm like, oh, ugh. Like I'm actually screaming and cursing. I'm like, I can't do this. They check me. I'm at a 9.5. And they're like, we can't give you any more medication. You're right there. And when they said I was at a 9.5, mind you now, at this point, I'm already like uncomfortable and pain. I can't do this. And when they said they couldn't give me anything else, I fucking lost it. I ripped out the IV, ripped off all the little monitoring things they had for the baby for them. I get off my back and I flip on all fours. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking do this natural. I don't want to do this without medication. I want an epidural. screaming, cursing. They're like, oh my God, you can't flip over like that. You're going to fall off the bed. I'm like, my fucking legs are not numb. I do not feel the epidural. And they're like, oh wow. Like I had to show them. I felt like it was something primal in me. It was something primal in me. My body could not physically sit there on my back. I felt like I had to just rip everything out of me and just turn over. I think like in my subconscious, my body knew like I needed to flip or something to like maybe put the baby in a different position or whatever. I don't know, but that worked. So after I'm looking, sorry, I gotta look here at the notes. Yeah, well, basically, I'm just off the top of my memory. Basically, I think that's what really got things going. Once I flipped over and was able to kind of like do some pushes, like I was kind of like my hands were like up like this on the bed. And I think that just really like lowered him down because I felt so much pressure. And then eventually, like I flipped over, got back on my back. And once it got really serious, my poor husband, I feel so bad. I literally was like, give me a bag. I'm going to throw up. They gave me a bag. So mind you, I'm like right here. My husband's face is like right here. I go like this and throw up in the bag next to his face. So I'm like 6 inches from his face. And he was like, it was so disgusting. He told me at least. And I just felt so bad for him. So I threw up because it hurt. And then I was like, I have to poo. They're like, oh no, that's how it feels when you have to push. And I'm like, no, I have to poop. I pooped. I peed. And they're like, oh, we're going to put a catheter in you. I did not want a catheter because I did not feel like, I didn't want one. I didn't have any pain medication in my body. I knew it was going to hurt. I knew it was going to be uncomfortable. And they tried it like 3 times and it didn't work. So they had to end up just getting like a bedpan so I could kind of empty everything out. Completely freaking disgusting. When I think back to it now, I'm like, oh God, that's so gross. But in the moment, you're like, well, this is what it has to be because I said epidural's not working. Let me get up and go to the toilet. And nobody was listening. So I just had to do what I had to do. But anyway, I get back on my back. I basically clear out all of my bowels and everything. Hold on, a helicopter passing by. Or something. Yeah. And I basically, I don't even know the time anymore. I feel like at this point, time is warped and I don't know. So I asked them like to see a mirror because with my first, that helped me a lot. But this second time around, I don't know. I just felt like I was in so much pain. The last thing I wanted to do was look down there. Everybody's yelling, saying, okay, you got to push. You got to do this. I start screaming and yelling, I'm not effing ready. It's not effing time yet. They're like, come on, Jasmyn, you have to do this. Come on, the baby. And I'm like, you're not listening. And it's crazy because I feel like I was like worse than how you see in the movies of like, oh my gosh, your baby's coming. Like my husband said that I was squeezing his hand so hard, like on his ring hand, that he thought I was going to break one of his fingers, which is insane. It's not funny, but I think it's kind of funny right now. And yeah, so eventually everybody started kind of getting on the same page because I was like, I got, what's the word? I got rude. And then I also got very direct. I was so coherent because I didn't have any drugs in my system that I just was able to communicate everything that I needed. There was one nurse who was like, oh, you gotta lift your leg this way. And I'm like, she needs to get the fuck away from me. I don't like her energy. Get that nurse over here to hold my leg. You move away from me. You be quiet. I don't want this. Get away. I'm not pushing yet. It's not time. And I just felt so strong and so empowered. And then I just went from like cursing people out to apologizing to get the F out of my way. Shut the F up. I'm never having an effing kid again. To I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so sorry. Fuck that. It was kind of insane. But yeah, it was just freaking insane. So finally, I get to a point where I feel like I'm ready to start pushing for him. So I start pushing and it was a lot faster this go round without having all the medication in my body. Last time it was about 23 hours, and this time it was about 14 hours, like start to finish, like first contraction to pushing him out. So I pushed the baby out, everything's all beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Then they start pushing on your belly to push the placenta out, and I felt it, and I was like, oh. Last time I didn't even know when the placenta came out. It was kind of crazy last time. Like, I didn't even realize half the stuff that was going on. I felt like I had so much medication that I couldn't even tell you who was in the room, who delivered my baby. But this time around, I could tell you the doctor's name, who was in there. I can point to you. And I think I kind of like that about this time around, like not having the medication. But anyway, so they're pushing on my stomach, they're pushing out the placenta, doing all that stuff. Oh God. I'm thinking right now to how it felt. It felt like just I don't know, it felt like a ball of snot coming out of your hoo-ha. And it just was, I don't know. I'm reimagining, I'm living through it right now in my mind, so let me just hurry up anyway. And I also got checked down there, so they're looking, they're opening, oh, how's it look? It was actually a little painful because, they're trying to thoroughly check. I didn't tear. I did have an abrasion down there, which I did not have last time, so it was quite sensitive down there, and I needed to put ice packs later on down the road, which I realized. But during, it wasn't too bad. And then, yeah, I feel like it was pretty fast. Like my son, his eyes were wide open when he came out of the womb. He was able to lift his head up already, which was kind of like amazing. I don't know if it's just because he didn't have the drugs in his system or because he technically was past his due date and had more time to develop. But yeah, that's basically how it was like for him coming out. And then, gosh, what else did I say was the last section? Oh yeah, so that was basically giving birth. So, we give birth, they do all the checks and whatnot, and then we move over to the recovery room. The hospital we went to, they renovated the whole mother baby unit. Absolutely beautiful. I felt like we were in a hotel. The room was so nice. It was great. And I just felt like I had so much adrenaline. I wasn't even exhausted. Like, I think we went to the next room, just say maybe about like midnight-ish. We were over there. And I wasn't even tired. I just felt like such a rush of like, I felt so calm, but just also just so alert. Like I just wanted to just stare at my baby and just think about like how amazing I am because I pushed out a baby naturally. Not by choice. I wanted the epidural and it failed twice, but nonetheless, I still did it. Yeah. But the first 24 hours, I mean, it kind of did suck. Like, you're bleeding a lot and you're so exhausted and your body's like trying to rebalance from not having that big belly anymore. But I will say, I don't know, as much as I did want the epidural, I'm kind of happy that I didn't. I feel like it was such an empowering experience that, I don't know, I feel like if we ever did have a third, I would want to do it naturally. Now, I don't know if we will have a third. I mean, we're still in the thick of postpartum, and to be honest, if I didn't, have our surprise baby right now, I don't even know when we would have talked about having a second baby, to be honest. I got so comfortable just having my only son that I think I was okay just only having one. And now that we have two boys, I'm kind of like, do we want to try for a third? Eventually down the road, like that, the baby would have a much bigger gap than these two. But I don't know. I felt really, really empowered. And I just felt like if I had to do this again, I could. Now, I would only ever do it one more time. I don't think I have two more babies. I could only do it one more time. I don't want 4 kids. I think 3 would be my max. But I definitely feel like I could go the natural holistic route. And I know now to wait even longer than I did at the hospital, before I go to the hospital, before I go into labor. And I also would prepare earlier. I waited too long. I feel like at 30 weeks, I should have had everything done. I should have had my list of meals that I wanted done. I should have had the bassinet set up, everything cleaned and washed. Even if I would have washed everything and put it in like a garbage bag or a plastic container, I should have just done that so it could have been done. But you know, now I know. And I also know now what to do to help like other moms going through postpartum. Sorry if I sound a little congested. My nose, I don't know. I don't know if it's the change of the season or what, but that's just how I sound. So yeah, that was my labor and delivery story. It was absolutely nuts. My epidural failed twice, but I literally feel like it still was one of the most amazing births ever. And I don't feel like it was traumatizing at all. I feel like now that I've like gone through it, I'm like, gosh, that was some really empowering. That was a really empowering moment, and I am so badass. And to think that I pushed out a baby, took care of it, feeding him from my breast, giving him life, it's kind of like, wow, what on earth am I afraid of? So yeah, I just wanted to share that story with you guys. I have more content that is going to be coming up over the next few weeks. Mondays and Thursdays are the days that I want to try to stick to posting, at least for the rest of the year. I don't know if that schedule is going to stick. Sorry, I'm looking out outside. There's a bunch of people outside. But that is, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to just make this video and share my experience with you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. Please like this video, share, subscribe. If there's any particular videos you want to see, let me know down below. I'm going to put like everything about me, like my things to know, like in the description bar, like just so you kind of know. And then, yeah, I don't know, you can just know a little bit about me. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.